It is a high-risk business. It's not as high risk as roulette. Some people will look at statistics of a region and say 1 in 8. Some people will look at global statistics and say to you it is 1 in 15. But basically, like in roulette, your chances of encountering success or failure is 1 in 2 every time you throw a dice. You can throw the dice 50 times and it doesn't come in. You can throw it first time or second time and it comes in.
I think the worldwide statistics are that only 1 well in 50 finds commercial hydrocarbons.
I would say your chances of establishing commercial hydrocarbons with your first well probably nearer to 1 in 100.
But, you know, as Disraeli said, there are lies, damned lies, and statistics.
If oil or gas there, it's a big moment for everybody.
As a rule of thumb, from the moment you think about an area as an area with a possible oil potential, until you discover oil in it, 10 years can easily lapse. The kind of environment you'd find in oil rig is not a friendly environment. It can be an Arctic, oceanic, desert, or swamp.
We just arrived yesterday, and I'm going to speak to Dr. Asim about the progress job. And to prepare everything for spudding the well, maybe they will take them about 4 days more.
A Wildcat well is a well drilled in an area where very few or no other wells have ever been drilled before. So the results of the well are not easily predictable. Delta was a rank Wildcat. Nobody had ever before drilled for the Mesozoic in this part of Yemen.
It is a challenging business. It keeps the adrenaline high. You generally find people in this line of business who do not shy away from a difficult undertaking and a risky undertaking.
We know there's oil about in this neck of the woods. We've seen it in the offshore wells, we've seen it seeping to surface on the Salif Peninsula, so we don't know until we drill, but it has to be drilled.
There's a great difference between an exploration well and a development well. An exploration well is a well which you drill in order to find out if there is oil. And even if there is oil there, you don't know what quantity, what quality.
Fine, I will check here what's going on. How will I second?
Okay, and here we can't help this truck, these 4 trucks that we have stuck here. We can't help him because the forklift is done.
This drilling operation is monitored in detail. There are logs, data sheet, reports where everything is documented by the hour.
اوكي شكرا مع السلامه حول.
Abdullah Buhoun was the company engineer on the 2 wells, a young chap from Algeria. Very good guy, highly educated, very practical, very decisive, good man to have around.
He was a very competent drilling engineer who knew his stuff and who contributed very valuable advice and deeds to BGM, who were primarily in charge of drilling. But he was standing there to add to their expertise. And he was our man.
One casing, it cost about $800 to $900. He was hammering the thread to take out the protector. And the thread, it's the weak point for the casing. If it's damaged, it means all the casing is damaged. A good way to work like that. Now they prepare to spot the well. They check this pump. This pump has to take the mud from the cellar to the shell shaker. This pump, this Russian pump, and they check the pump. After that, when they finish repairing the line for geoservice, we start drilling.
ريح النسام ريح النسام واليوم يلا واليوم دام واليوم دام واليوم يلا اليوم والله واليوم دام واليوم دام ها بالله واليوم اليوم والله ها بالله دام ها بالله واليوم ها بالله دام ها بالله دام ها بالله واليوم ها بالله دام الصلاة لله كثير دام كثير موهب اللي بالنوبة ريح النسام كثير بالدار بالنوبة ريح النسام ها بالله مليوم ها بالله دام والعام حقه والسنة تاب والعام حقه والسنة تاب يلي بالنوبة شرف الدار يلي بالنوبة شرف الدار يلي بالنوبة شرف الدار والصلاة لله كثير دام والصلاة لله كثير دام كثير موهب ريح النسام كثير موهب ريح النسام كثير الشيخ
Metal seal like that from here, from there, protect the casing, and the casing shouldn't go out. Like that, it's risky, too much risky. تريسير بحاجه انت يجيك حاجه جيك اسمح لي بيجيام هذه فور اكزامبل كيف يو بيجيام ريسيف سبير بارت اسمح لي ورونج سبير بارت if it was me I send it back I don't need it at all. You will send me? No, please, it's not a job this one. Go ahead and take it for anybody.
This is the nature of this business. Tension, frustration.
It was difficult to unload it. I tell him if it is no safety to load it, don't load it. The trucking company take responsibility for that. They should load it very good. What they do, they try from here, they cut the chain and everything come down.
Well, it helps to have a sense of humor, and it helps to to have patience. And these two attributes Ali had. These various service companies are all specialists. They are the best in their line, okay? But expert to a degree that they concentrate on their angle. And there is required a person who has a wider angle and who make all these experts pull together. And this was Ali.
Okay, what I want to say is
He will hold a meeting with the various specialists, daily meeting,
and I'm sure
where everybody is informed of what goes on and everybody listens to what the other has to say and benefit from each other's knowledge.
Okay. From time to time there will be some disputes, some different opinions, whatever. We'll sit together, discuss the problem and find the best solution. And I'm sure we will.
We had several service contractors. The main drilling contractor, BGM, but we also had the mud company, provided mud engineering and mud chemicals. We had the well site man, who was describing the geological findings of the well. We had geoservices company, who was monitoring the mud and the drilling progress. We had Schlumberger providing cementing services, wireline services, and providing certain tools. We had a catering company. These would best function when well coordinated. You can try to direct people from a town office, from a head office, but you cannot be sure that they will turn all in the same direction. Ali was there to make them turn in the same direction. And he did an excellent job.
We're actually at a depth of 400, roughly 400 meters, and we're trying to get to about 600 meters, where we'll find a good spot to stop drilling and run the casing.
All round, I'd say Stuart was a very good man to have on board.
So we haven't got far to go, only 200 meters, which could be done in probably as little as 5 or 6 hours. After that, we'll run some wireline logs, some electric logs, to try and give us some data on the hole, and get all that sewn up, run the casing, and then continue drilling.
He also had a bit more than a lot of well site geologists do in terms of interpretive ability and wishing to actually give us more insight into the rocks than just describing what was there.
Time for a bit of geology. This is a sort of section through the earth, taken with shock waves to get reflections off the different beds of rock. Now, at the moment, we're about here, and we're going to go down into this section here. Now, this is a slightly strange bit of seismic section. What it probably is anhydrite, which is a kind of evaporite, I guess, a bit like salt. And that may give us a big reflection like this. But what it may be, and what we're hoping it'll be, is oil or gas. I mean, that can give us the same kind of reflection. So that's a possibility. And then we carry on after that, all the way into here, and we really don't know what this is at all. You can probably see up here we have some quite nice lines. Down here it's all a bit of a mess. So we're not sure, but we shall see. Time will tell.
Всичко лесно, когато се знае какво се трябва да се направи.
وكل شيء سهل عندما يكون كل شيء واحد يعرف كيف يصلح.
Everything it will be easy if they know their job. They know very good their job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
شكرا جزيلا.
It is interesting. You have many nationalities there. You have many people coming from different background. And they are all dedicated, otherwise they wouldn't be there in the first place. Some camaraderie develops. You see heroic acts sometimes.
We're standing here in the main water reserve pit for the rig, and it's empty. and we're not drilling as a result. We stopped at midnight last night because we ran out of water, despite it raining most of yesterday and most of the day before. And until we get some water, we can't drill anymore. So we're snookered at the moment, basically.
Of course, I wasn't pleased when I heard about it. It is not common to encounter such a situation.
Because I have my budget here, and I have the responsibility for this budget, yeah. And every day delays, it costs me money for nothing.
There is absolutely loads of it just below our feet in the groundwater. So we either need to pump it out from this Bedouin water well, which means repairing their pump. I don't know if we can do this. I don't know if BGM can do this. I doubt BGM can do it because it's not their pump. This big one with the red stripe, is that a water tank?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
It is.
Because the guy's just sitting there, not doing anything.
But they have only one truck.
Only one water truck.
Only one. They should have about 4 or 5 water truck all the time, permanent working.
I think we're looking at something like $14,000 a day for the drilling. You're probably looking at another $11,000 to $12,000 a day in service company contracts. So it can be quite expensive. You're looking at certainly $25,000 a day just in operational costs.
The problem is the people.
We heard about food, we heard about road, we heard about pump, but
who is now in charge of dealing with and speaking to Yemeni personnel?
Our coordinator, but he's in Sana now.
Yeah, but so he is in Sana. Who is the next person?
Next person is me.
we need exactly what's kind of problem they have got exactly. It means they're...
Abdurrahman speak with the driver, this driver, which is here. He said the rain, matar.
The rain?
The rain.
Milo, you're in charge, please.
Okay.
Let's get the water today.
I continue.
All right. We're about 4.5 k's from the rig at the site of the water well where we get the water to drill with. No water's being pumped because the pump is being repaired back at the rig site, but we have, as you can see, a few trucks here. They will fill them up when we get the pump going. We seem to have got the drivers driving again. I'm not sure how. Maybe somebody fed them, hopefully. There goes one of the trucks. Hopefully full of water, we don't know. Anyway, with luck we should be drilling sometime tonight.
It's one of the problems, to deal with, which creates headache, again, loss of money, but you have to live with these problems.
So these two pages are now going to Mayfair, Sana'a, and they will be then later on distributed to London, to our partners, and to the ministry from Sana'a. And every morning, I hope always that this telephone will be functioning and will send the faxes as soon as possible. he doesn't have contact now to the satellite. He doesn't want to work. So we got to try it again, and every time, all this time, it is costing money. Now it says communication error. I know that. Means it doesn't have contact with the satellite, and we got to try it again. It is good so they know they are in the picture what is going on here, because it is completely different if you are sitting in the city, in the offices, or you are here on these field operations. It's completely different world. Busy. Wait again. Quite expensive. I think they get $15, around $15 per minute. If you look at it, it starts already charging you. He got the contact with the satellite. You see, I'm so happy when it goes.
They are drilling. This is good news.
Drilling mud is quite different. It's chemically complex. The fact that it is a very dense compound enables the rock cuttings to be brought up with it. When the rock cuttings reach the surface, everything is run over a shale shaker. But basically it sorts out the liquids from the solids. The mud loggers can then get a sample, take it back to their cabin and put it under a microscope, and looking at these samples they can tell you whether there are any hydrocarbons.
At the moment we are looking for a casing point, and we don't really know where we are because it's an exploration well. What we do know is what we're looking at. We can tell you what kind of rock it is, but we're not so sure exactly where it puts us in the well. So we look and describe, and basically we wait until we find something that we recognize, if at all. I This could go on for a while. These are the cuttings that come out of the well, and our lovely lads over there wash them for us and put them in the trays. Each one's a different depth, so this is actually going down the well. And they probably all look the same. I mean, this was, 17 meters ago. It's pretty much the same. Well, it all comes alive once you look down the microscope. Colors, textures, the works. I mean, it's just fantastic stuff.
Thanks.
You have a 12-hour shift. This applies to the semi-skilled, skilled, and highly skilled persons on the rig. Now, these are the lucky ones. Their supervisors work 24 hours a day.
You never know what's going to happen on a Wildcat well, and you can't really afford to drop your guard at any time, because, you know, when you do drop your guard, that's usually when something bad happens at the most unexpected time.
It's a whole holistic existence for those in supervisory or managerial position. They sleep with their boots on.
It's a tough business in terms of physically and mentally, you know.
What we are expecting in the next section, we really don't know. This is a wild cat. We call it Wildcat normally, but this is several times wild because we really don't know.
A little early, 8:30, and we just spent the night searching for a certain point, a certain depth, at which to set a string of casing. Basically, we knew it was somewhere after 550 meters, and but we didn't know exactly where, so we just had to sort of feel our way slowly down and find this point. And we were looking for a nice, hard layer of rock to set this in, which will give us basically a strong foundation for the rest of the well. In about 2 hours after we've pulled all the drill string out of the hole, we'll run in with some Wireline Logs, which are some electric tools we run down the hole, and they'll give us measurements which will tell us about the well. So that's the next stage. In between now and then, I'm going to get about 2 hours sleep. I'm absolutely finished.
You can see this bit. We have to, in the cone number 1, the broken teeth, about 6, and chipped teeth. Even for the cone number 2 and the cone number 3. We can use it again, but not for a long interval. Only 100, no more than 100 meters. It depends on the formation, which formation.
You have your more reliable mean of determining whether there is hydrocarbon in the formation or not. And these are the Wireline Logs. Now, these are electronic measurements of various attributes of the formation, such as sound, porosity, radioactivity, and very importantly, resistivity, electric resistivity.
As you can see, my crew are doing the rig up right now, and after that, we connect the tools which are laying on the catwalk just behind me, and we run in basically. And the tools are operated with electricity, some electronic instruments which acquire the data. And there's a unit at the surface which the data is coming through the cable, which has got conductors inside. And there we can see what's going on downhole, and we record the data for later use or processing.
are using it just beside the cave.
If there's not much going on, it can get very boring. Most people on the rig, even when, for example, you're fishing, when you've lost something down the hole, have something to do. But people like the geologists, for example, don't have much to do. The mudloggers don't have much to do. It does require a certain amount of ingenuity to keep yourself mentally occupied.
هيتع لحد هيتع لحد ها تبع امس اديني فاتوره ارجوك So we went now down from 1,900 riyals to 1,600. We are still negotiating the price. يلا يا اخي بناخذ حبتين حبتين يلا يلا يا معلم.
لا بل
انت مانك ما عارف الاسعار، ما تسالوا لزميلك كم
هل صار
الاسعار.
الحين مع انخفاض ولا اي شيء؟
مفيقات هناك ها؟
لا مش شرط القاه يعني بس طبعا الحياه تختلف.
يا كان
انا في عندي اقامه طبعا في هنا بس ما رحت يعني.
Well, I am a chef is here working about 11 years, and since 2 months I am working in rig. This is very good. Today our special is the barbecue. We have the barbecue French onion soup and the baked potato, chicken, pork and beef. These are all. Some came from Australia, some New Zealand, and the beef from India. Most of the people is like this pork item, they like too much. Yeah. And the stuffed capsicum also. They like stuffed capsicum. Yeah.
اوكي. كده تو سكوادج. سكوادج يطلع ما فولا زلنا سكواد سكواد. لا ضريب باقي شوط صدر وتقواه.
It's very, very important in this business to mention the performance done by the people on the well side, yeah. Because this is the frontier there, you know, and they do the very hard work, yeah. Very, very hard work.
These men are away from home for long periods of time, doing quite often very strenuous work, in quite often adverse conditions that make the job more difficult.
These are the muscular ballerinas, okay, of the desert.
$1,400 meters. What do you think, Abdullah? 10, 14 days, if everything goes smoothing?
TD stands for total depth, and that's the final depth the well reached. In other words, that's the last foot of rock you drill is TD. That's where you stop it.
If nothing in there, unfortunately, we will have to abandon the well and go and hope we have success next time.
Well, as the well was approaching TD, here in London we were frankly a bit down in the mouth because it was fairly obvious from the descriptions we've been getting back from the well site that there was little of excitement in Delta. We did not, frankly, have much expectations from the logs. So by that stage we were sort of resigned to our fate.
It was determined that the rocks involved did not have any porosity to start with to contain hydrocarbon. That was conclusive, and we just bit the bullet and said there are no hydrocarbons in the well.
So that was kind of a sinking feeling, and so it was more or less a question of finding a definitive place to end the well.
The next step would be to plug and abandon the well. You don't just walk away from it. You have to secure the well with cement plugs in the well. So you spend about 2 or 3 days plugging the well, securing it, and then abandoning it and go somewhere else.
Every exploration well, even if it's not economic, it brings positive results in terms of geology and is a good base for next step.
The whole concept of the well was to test a basin which we had some slight indicators may exist, and without drilling a well we could never have proven whether it exists or not.
Well, what we are doing now, you can say we are licking our wounds. The future campaign is to soldier on, drill still within the block, over structures or prospects we reckon are more favorable than the ones we have drilled.
It means we can probably now downgrade large parts of the acreage, which is valuable in itself. We didn't find hydrocarbons, but at least now we've got a better idea of where not to look.
It helps you better understand what you have got and possibly point you out in a certain direction where you should have been in the first place, but you couldn't have known that. You couldn't have known that.
We have still a lot of prospects in this area, and we have big hope still that there is something in here which got to be discovered.
I think that it is an area worth exploring to find out if there is oil or not. Now, if I knew that there was oil in it, we'd have drilled our first well on that oil pool. We are on the chase.